We're going to now go to our next speaker, who is Zurine Ojeda. She is from Spain. She's a feminist activist. In 2015, she founded Gafas Moradas, Purple Glasses, and she's the manager of the feminist section of El Común and writes articles. She's now the vice president of the party Feminists to Congress. And thank you so much for coming, Zurine. The title of Zurine's talk is Spanish Feminism Against the Transgender Lobby. So thank you so much, and over to you.
El Común is a digital media, like a digital diary or notice diary, who has a feminist section, and is the only media, generalist media in Spain, who gives voice to radical feminists. Okay, and now I am the vice president of a new political party, Feminists to Congress. I'll start with a brief a resume of feminism in Spain in the last 50 years, because we come from a Catholic dictatorship of 40 years, where feminism was illegal, and no way we were in a Catholic country. We had nothing allowed. So when democracy came, in just a few years, we won the right to vote, the divorce, the right to work and have properties without our husband's authorization. We have now equal representation in political parties, and the abortion rights. We started in the 80s with an assumption law. We could only get an abortion if the fetus came with severe malfunctions, if we have been violated, raped, or if our lives were in risk. Only that three cases, in that three cases. But in 2004, we changed to the deadline law. So now we have abortion free and almost guaranteed in all the country. Okay, this only in less than 50 years, in fact in less than 40 years. Okay, so feminism was there, feminists we were there, and in the moment democracy erupted, I think we did a great job. I don't know if you remember this. This was 2018. 2018 was a very important year for feminism in Spain. This is the 8th of March. And this is in my city, in Bilbao, that Sheila knows, because she was here last year visiting us. This was the most massive demonstration, feminist demonstration in Spain ever. Not only this, all over the country. That year, it was an explosion of feminism in the streets. We made a national strike. Okay, only women did the strike, but it was a national strike. In Bilbao, women, we were all day in the streets, all day, shouting, singing, protesting against patriarchy all day. This picture, in fact, was taken at 1 p.m. So we were all day in the streets. In fact, I am there somewhere. So it was so big and so important this year, feminism this year, that it was the striking point for so many people who saw that feminism was becoming too big and too important in a Spanish country. And I guess this is the moment where they decided they had to break it. And they did. And in fact, they did. This is the last time feminists and women were together in Spain. fighting for feminism together, the last time. Since then, it has not been like that. At that time, we already knew what was happening in UK, in Canada, and the United States. We knew with the transgender laws, but we thought, innocent as we were, very, very innocent, that we didn't have that problem. As Kate said in the video, initially they were LGBT associations and the T came after. In Spain, that was not the case because we arrived so late to all of this, to democracy and all of these rights, that associations from the first time were LGBT. The T was always there in Spain, but it always meant transsexual people, not transgender or queer or something like that. It was just for transsexual people. We already had laws for that transsexual people from 2010, more or less. They had paid surgeries and treatments, but always for adults under strict psychiatric and psychological controls and medical controls, only for adults, okay? And we weren't aware what was coming, really. Some of us were talking about that, but people weren't aware of that. Demonstrations of 2018 were really the turning point for the transgender movement. They knew how strong we were, and they were determined to change that. We have a new political party in Congress, Podemos, translated maybe as Yes We Can or something like that. They identify themselves as left wing and feminist, and fooled many of us in that days in 2015 and so on. They also identify as the most feminist party in Spain. Okay, they took responsibility of the Ministry of Equality, but because yes, in Spain we have a Ministry of Equality that is supposed to be a feminist minister. And they started in the beginning of 2020 and till the end of 2023. And at the same time, transgenderism appeared as the most important issue in many feminist associations. Here it was the money, okay? The money erased and appeared everywhere. Everywhere was talking about this suddenly in the feminist associations, meetings, and so on. And suddenly, it happened one thing is that everyone started to confuse the terms gender and sex. And I'm so sorry for saying this, but in part was because of how you use them or have been using them in English, okay? We know sex has been very rude for some people and they change to gender instead of that. But this is not the case, was not the case in Spain, okay? There's no problem of saying sex related to male, female, to a man and a woman, and so on. But this use of the term gender, has made many people to get very, very confused. People in the streets, people that are not into this, use them equally and don't even know the difference. And this makes very difficult because any conversation about this, we have to start it speaking about what is gender and what is sex. And it's like a Sesame Street class or something like this, but it's necessary because people in Spain is really very confused about this. All of a sudden, in almost every feminist group all over the country, appear women defending the gender self-determination as the most modern and feminist issue you could ever think of. This was the last of the last, the coolest of the cool you could be in the feminist movement. Even supposed to be intelligent and well-known radical feminists like Iranchu Varela and many others changed their minds and started to support this. In Spain, we say just follow the money, okay? But this happened, so this added more confusion to people that weren't inside feminism, okay? They weren't all of us, of course, already in 1918 and before. There were some of us saying this was nonsense. I remember Madeleine Bierns, many of us knew her on Twitter and social media, but we were clearly losing the battle those days. Podemos, this left and very feminist political party, arrived to the Ministry of Equality, and they immediately sold all their left-wing policies in exchange for the transgender law. They were a minority in the government, so they didn't have the government themselves, but they were in the government. So they sold every left-wing policies like work policies, taxes, everything in exchange of this horrible law. They never met with any radical feminist association, only with LGBTIQ plus ones, as Kate says. In Spain, we call them alphabet groups because they have so many letters, and each day they have more, so they call them the alphabet associations. There was no public debate at all, ever, in any place except from Twitter, X, and these social nets. And finally, in February 2020, the transgender law was approved with the conformity of all the left-wing parties in the Congress and many of the right wing too. Only 2 of the right-wing parties didn't vote for that. All the rest of the Congress voted for this transgender law. We have in Spain a law that says that sex is assigned at birth. This is a law in Spain that says this. That is nonsense. This is religion. This is not science. This is not evidence. This is nothing. And this law allows anyone to change their registered sex only by expressing their will to do it. For example, tomorrow I go to the registration office and I say, now I feel like a man, and the only thing I have to do is come again in 6 months to repeat the same, and I'll have my sex changed in all my documents, in all my official documents. There's no requirement, no one. And even questioning that will be made considered against the law and punished with economical punishment around, we're speaking around £100,000 for you to, or euros or dollars for you to understand. This law, in fact, what it does is that it outlaws feminism in Spain, because gender is one of the main tools of oppression that women suffer. One of the main tools the patriarchy uses to prosecute women. So if gender is now in the law and is protected by law, feminism is in fact illegal. Okay, that's the law we have here in Spain. By this time, 2020 and before, all the media were in. TV programs, films, series, everything was pro-transgenderism and everyone thought that was feminist. Okay, because the party and the government who has made that law said that they were the most feminist government in history. So everyone thinks this is what feminism says. Okay, there are is always some hope. At the beginning, where all this started to blow in society back in 2018, radical feminist voices, we were still very few, but not in silence. Never, never. We kept on speaking in social media and in feminist meetings and demonstrations, and with the consequences you all know: verbal and physical violence against us, social cancellation, loss of jobs, and this goes on until now, until this moment. But we are more and more and more each day. We want to think we are waking up people from this nightmare and from this religion, because this is a religion, not science-based. You have to have faith in what people say. If I say now I am a man, you have to make a faith act to believe that. So what is the situation now? We have the law, and we have no expectations of repealing it in the short term. The only possibility is that the extreme right-wing parties win the next elections. So this is extremely also negative perspective for feminists. Anyway, any option is bad for women. Any option we have now in this country. Still, radical feminism is still banned in big media. We don't appear, we are not giving voices in any TV program or any radio program or in newspapers, nothing. We are ignored, absolutely ignored. And if someone puts some speech or any woman speaks a little in a program like last week, Tassi Aranguez talked in a public TV program about women in sports and trans women, male, okay, in women sports, saying that it was not fair and this shouldn't be. And there has been an authentic earthquake in social media and in all the TV programs and so on, calling her TERF, transphobe, bigot, hate speech. Well, the attack has been massive against her. So we are still being cancelled and prosecuted for telling the truth, okay? Many of us. Yesterday, Lidia Falcón went to present a book in a public library in Madrid. And the public library said they wouldn't do it because hate speech and so on. But our pressure made the public library change their mind, and finally the presentation of the book was made yesterday, full of women. So we have little victories in that, because we are being more and more each time. And just an idea, we don't have J.K. Rowling in Spain, but maybe we can borrow her for a while. Maybe you can lend her to us, I don't know, for some months, 1 year or so. So women with money and power and social projection in our country or they are pro-transgenderism, or they are not interested at all in feminism itself. So we don't have a woman with that projection here, no? But it's what we have. On the other hand, these were the bad things, okay? On the other hand, almost each day we have a new group or association of radical feminists. We are growing. We are growing each day, and that's a reality. We are still few of us, but growing each day. We even have our first LGBT association, which is very important that LGBT groups are with us. We are starting to be enough to make our own true feminist demonstrations in many cities and towns in March the 8th. This year we are having our own demonstration in Madrid, in Barcelona, and in other many cities throughout the country. So we are starting to recover our spaces in the streets. It's very important for us. We know will be some physical aggressions, but we are aware. And we have a new feminist party, Feminists to Congress, with which we have run in the European elections, okay? This, we think from Spain, is very important. We always say feminism always says everything is politic, no? So we think it's very important to have a political force that represents us, that represents women and our interests, to force other political parties to pay attention to women and to what we are saying, because we have tried for many, many years to work inside those political parties, obviously in the left-wing parties, of course. We have tried from the inside to force them to be feminists and to work for feminism for women, but with no result. They are not interested in feminism. It's the last dot in the papers, and they are not willing to do anything for us. So we have to take a step forward and make our own political party. And it would be very interesting to have them in other countries, especially in Europe in this case. So we could make a force together and empower together and force governments and even the European Union together. As we say in Spanish, feminism or barbarity. There's no other option. So thank you so much for your kind attention.